It'll
All right,
improve you,
guys.
Jay.
Let's
Little Ken
burn through
Shamrock
the
in WWE.
let's burn
Ken
through the rest of who
Shamrock was
balled
a
out and called
freaking
out here.
putz.
Oh,
Oh,
Shamrock's
God.
ankle lock was unbreakable.
Not the angle lock.
All
Anyways,
right.
rabbit hold the shit out of that. Sorry, guys. My fault.
Transitioning into the wide receivers. Guys, Chris Godwin is a beast. 7, 184, and 2 for Godwin with inconsistent play from Jameis. He continues to dominate. Hopkins from the Thursday night game had his 2 touchdowns. Speaking of
Finally.
consistent beasts, Michael Thomas, 10 catches and a tutty to go along with his 100 yards. Jarvis Landry, super revenge game. 10 catches, 148 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
A little
We talked
motivated right
about,
there.
yeah, I think so. We talked about OBJ. DJ Moore had himself a monster game. 6 for 126 and 2. Allen Robinson, somehow in that Chicago offense with Trubisky throwing the
Jesus.
ball, had 131 yards and a touchdown. Really, guys, when you look around the league, I mean, there are plenty of great performances through the air. I mean, we talked about Tyler Boyd, 5 for 101 and a touchdown. Will Fuller had 140 yards.
Yep.
A.J. Brown had himself, a huge touchdown catch, which led to 135 yards. So a lot of great performances through the air.
Is it me or is Tennessee Titans I'm sorry to interrupt, but I got to ask. Is it me or Tennessee Titans a scary team when it comes to getting hot right before the playoffs? I mean, with Derrick Henry in cold weather games coming up, I mean, in Kansas City, you look at New England, Baltimore, and then you go ahead and you got A.J. Brown who's getting hot. Corey Davis is still a weapon that can be used. And, I mean, it's still a good defense. I feel like they're a sneaky, really good team that no one should want to face and let them in the playoffs. That's just my view. I don't know if anyone else sees it.
They're beating good teams. I mean, look what they just did to the Chiefs very recently. They have the formula. They can run the ball. They can stop the run. I mean, I'm not sure about Malcolm Butler if he's going to be back anytime soon, but I just think Vrabel has a big. Yeah, Vrabel clearly has a big impact on these guys on defense. I mean, really no superstars that stand out besides Jarrell Casey, I think. But, I mean, obviously a very cohesive defense that keeps them close in games. And Tannehill is playing very well, right? I mean, this is some of the best ball he's ever played.
And he's not overdoing it. He's a game manager, and that's what he's doing. He's not looking to, ball out. He's just a game manager for that offense with Henry being the focal point, and he's accepted it. That's huge for him to do that. So it's just, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I'm excited about Tennessee. I just miss Aaron McNair and Eddie George, and it's good to see a QB running back combo work in sync.
No, they're a pretty interesting team. I mean, as far as futures, bets go for a dark horse Super Bowl team, I would put my money on them. I mean, especially if Delaney Walker gets completely healthy again. I mean, look out.
Jonnu Smith is still a weapon, and Mike Vrabel is one of few Belichick disciples to come back and not just beat him, whoop him.
Yeah, that's a good point, too. That is a good point.
Sorry, guys. Just had to point that out.
No, don't apologize.
I heard A.J. Brown, so
we love you.
It sparked me.
It's all good. We're here to give thanks this week. We're not here to hate.
I didn't start the fire.
All right, guys. The stinkers. Who called out this week? At quarterback, we got Matt Ryan, Russell Wilson, and Aaron Rodgers. Hate to bring it up, but your boy
that was coming.
Had an awful week. I mean, it wasn't obviously not completely his fault. The offensive line play was not there. Aaron Jones couldn't get anything done on the ground. So just an all-around bad week for the Green Bay Packers offense. They're looking to bounce back this week for sure.
Stunk it up like moldy cheese.
But, yeah, Russell didn't have the game you would hope to have against, a Philly secondary that's just finding its legs. And Matt Ryan against the worst-ranked pass defense in the league couldn't get anything going. I realized Julio left for a little while, but, I mean, come on. The only touchdown pass was thrown by Matt Schaub.
Nope. Julio didn't leave. Matt Ryan left.
Well, Julio left for a little bit, but he came back.
I mean, wouldn't you list Brady as not a good performance? I mean, he had 190 yards, I think 1 touchdown, took a couple sacks. He didn't really have his Brady-ish game, you know?
I could, but what I try to do is go with who is the most fantasy friendly. along with who had the best Dillon. Matchup and, stunk it up. I'm sorry. I think more people were depending on these three than Tom Brady. I'm just saying.
What about Dak Prescott not coming through with a touchdown in the big game?
Well, we talked about Dak Prescott, so hopefully anyone who listened to us pivoted to someone else like Baker Mayfield or even our boy Driscoll had a decent day.
Whoa.
Listen, finished with better numbers than Matt Ryan.
I mean, that's not saying much.
All right, running backs who stunk it up. David Montgomery went 13 for 22. Todd Gurley, I have a hilarious story about that later. Took 6 carries for 22 yards. Tevin Coleman, guys, he had a touchdown, but I'm going to bring him up because, I mean, on a night that the San Francisco 49ers lit up the scoreboard, Coleman only had 39 yards. So
yeah, Mostert took bulk of those carries.
Yeah, so that was interesting for him and someone who a lot of people are depending on in their playoff push. He might be a risky play. Your boy, Aaron Jones, obviously with 38 yards, was a bummer.
Just keep rubbing in the wound.
Chris Carson had himself another fumble. We talked about him, 26 yards on 8 carries. And Jalen Samuels as borderline droppable with Benny Snell taking over and who knows with James Conner coming back. So Samuels has been very ineffective and not worth rostering anymore.
Jay, how many times did I hype up Benny Snell in the offseason saying I wanted him?
A lot.
I don't know. I'm waiting for him.
Sorry, my mic wouldn't unmute.
Lord, he was... I heard... Yeah, Benny Snell was one of my favorite underrated running backs of the draft. I felt like he was a huge weapon for Kentucky. I'm just surprised he didn't go higher. And, of course, he goes to Pittsburgh Steelers, who needs a running back in replace of Connor.
Yeah, he's the perfect Pittsburgh pick, really. Just a tough runner in the tackles.
Would you like the Eagles' defense this week or the Saints' defense? Or the Packers? Saints, Eagles, or Packers?
I like the Eagles, man. Against Miami, give me the Eagles.
Are you sure you trust them?
I trust them. We just faced New England and Seattle. They made us look bad, but they are two very formidable teams.
What if Fitzmagic wakes up?
He may, but our secondary is also waking up.
If he shows up in Deshaun Jackson's jewelry and coat, we know we're in trouble.
All right, let's wrap this up, guys. Wide receivers who called it in this week. Cooper Kupp, 6 catches for 35 yards. Definitely looking for better days ahead after a hot start to the season. Tyler Lockett, in a friendly matchup, only had 38 yards on 1 single catch. Emmanuel Sanders is clearly still recovering from his injury. He only had 15 yards on a single catch. And I think we know who had the worst week of all the high-profile wide receivers. Amari Cooper against
I thought you were going to say Adams.
No, Amari Cooper had 0 yards on 0 catches.
Well, he did come close for getting that third down in there, but he ended up letting it hit the ground and couldn't come through.
Worth mentioning that Marquise Brown and Willie Snead for the Ravens each scored 2 touchdowns, so that was nice to see.
Was that them that good, or was that Lamar just being that good?
Lamar's hot, man. He clearly understands the game plan that they are installing each and every single week. Greg Roman is his boy. They better not leave each other's side because they are each very relevant in the NFL right now thanks to each other. It's a very Norv Turner, Christian McCaffrey situation.
They're talking about Greg Roman possibly being head coach somewhere else, Dillon.
I wouldn't be surprised, man. I mean, just look at this Ravens offense compared to what they were last year. Kind of struggling to get going with Flacco, and now here they are. The thing we forget...
Deebo Samuel or Josh Gordon?
Wow, that's tough. Give me Deebo.
Hold on. Who's Deebo facing? Oh, they're facing Baltimore.
Yeah, not this week. Not this week.
Yeah. Who's Seattle facing?
Seattle's got Minnesota Monday night, so I guess I would go with Gordon. But still
roads are open.
He's still the third option, and maybe even the fourth. So
Xavier Rhodes is going to be on him, and he has not been playing well this season.
That's true.
Sorry, I didn't override you, Dillon. I'm just giving an outside perspective here, brother.
No, I'm just. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. It seems like everyone has forgotten besides Clay Travis. I hate to give him credit, but he's the only one who seems to be bringing up right now, and maybe Doug Gottlieb because he's kind of skeptical too.
Don't mention his name on this show.
Listen, that playoff game against the Chargers just last season really exposed Lamar Jackson as a quarterback in the NFL. Once they put an athletic spy like Derwin James on Lamar Jackson, he could not do anything. The option game was not happening. He was not hitting his passes because he was forced to drop back and throw the ball downfield, and that wasn't happening. And he certainly wasn't getting outside the pocket because Derwin James was all over him. So we'll see.
Yes,
I don't know.
And last year he did not have Mark Ingram. He did not have Marquise Brown. He did not have Willie Snead. That offense.
He had Willie Snead last year.
Not playing like this. Snead
and he had John Brown. I mean,
but he still had Willie Snead though. He was on the roster.
He was banged up.
Snead, no.
Yeah.
He did have John Brown. They still had C.J. Mosley and Terrell Suggs and Zadarius Smith. I think it was a better team last year than they are this year.
Defensively, I'm talking offensively.
Right. Andrews is certainly an improvement, but I mean they did still have John Brown, who is equal to me and Hollywood Brown.
Yeah, but also Andrews, the tight end.
No,
favorite I mean, and Ingram is huge there. He's a hell of an addition as a running back. That's the best running back Baltimore's had since Ray Rice.
He is running like a whole new young running back to me. Like Ingram has this reinvigorated.
Like that's the difference. That Chargers game, that option game, those runners couldn't pick the proper hole or make anybody miss or just flat out run them over. Ingram can do all of those things. And that really makes a big difference there. Then you can't really commit a Derwin James to a spy because then he's not, then he's not back there to do it and the play action becomes much more relevant. The reason they committed Derwin James to being a spy was because they didn't really respect those running backs. Therefore, they weren't going to respect the running game. They were treating Lamar Jackson as the number one running back, which he really was. It's not the case this year. And he's developed a lot more mechanically compared to last year. He was a rookie. You should expect that. He actually had a full offseason in camp, not getting ready for the NFL. He was working on himself and his game and learning that offense. The steps, I understand what you're saying because that was the outlier, but teams have tried similar things like that this year with the roster they've built around him this year and the steps he's taken. It's not even close to the same guy he is and not close to the same team around him, especially at the running back position.
Oh, they did handle the Patriots. They beat Seattle in a tough game. So let's see. I definitely cannot wait for this
AFC
game
Super Bowl
against San Francisco. I cannot wait for this matchup.
This is back-to-back weeks because I was really excited. I know it ended up being a dud. I do want to say I don't think that game Sunday night was indicative of what the Packers really could do if they were up to par, playing. I think they shit the bed, which is sad because we were all hyping this up and it makes them look like a bunch of morons and brings up some questions, but I don't think it really was the true litmus test that everybody wanted to see. I think if they match up in the playoffs again, I hope to God they show up because I think if the Packers show up with Aaron Rodgers, that matchup is just as fun, if not better, than this one we're going up. But this is going to be fun to watch this week. I'm definitely up for this game.
Oh, man, just think, two extremely tough defenses, two offenses that are built around mostly the running game and scheming guys open. And the biggest difference certainly is the mobility in the quarterbacks. So we'll see. I can't wait.
Yeah, me neither. I'm pumped for that game.
So, mentioning the Ravens in the Monday night game, there was a quote that I want to mention by how horrible the announcing team is. There with Booger McFarland. He said that the Rams have a better chance to score a touchdown the farther they are away from the red zone. A what? Like